This is the book of Romans, chapter 10, and verse 16. But they have not obeyed the gospel, for Isaiah saith, Lord, who have believed our report? So then faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of the Most High. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who rule well and teach well through the Spirit, and a mighty shalom to the hopeful elect, scattered four corners of the earth, teaching this word and believing this word. As a whole, Lord willing, that y'all continue in sound doctrine and in the same spirit. And shalom to the Akwath Yam, believers of this faith and this truth. Lord willing, that you continue to pursue your lot, which is being a loving and silent and virtuous wife. And Lord willing, the Most have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that is not in the faith. This is part 2, faith examples. Lord willing, this can boost your faith. So with that, let's get into it. Let's go to Hebrews, the 11th chapter, verse 20, starting at verse 23. And it reads, by faith Moses, when he was born, was hid 3 months of his parents, because they saw he was a proper child, and they were not afraid of the king's commandments. By faith Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of the Most High than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season, in esteeming the reproach of Hamashiach greater riches than treasures in Egypt, for he had respect unto the recompense of the reward. By faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invisible. Through faith he kept the Passover in the sprinkling of the blood, lest he that destroy the firstborn should touch them. By faith they passed through the Red Sea as by dry land, which the Egyptians assaying to do were drowned. Right? And so we see Moses had faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. He chose to suffer with Israel rather than to enjoy the Egyptians or Egypt's pleasures, and he kept the Passover, right? Which, of course, that was the last plague the Lord sent onto the Egyptians, right? Killing the firstborn son and cattle, right? And that's the faith we got to have on this side. You know, you never know what the Lord is going to do on this side, right? So let's go to Exodus, the 12th chapter. And these is, basic information. This is Exodus chapter 12, starting at verse 21. Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said unto them, draw out and take you a lamb according to your families, and kill the Passover. And ye shall take a bunch of hops and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel, salaki, in the 2 side posts with the blood that is in the basin. And none of you shall go out at the door of his house until the morning, for Yahweh will pass through to smite the Egyptians. And when he seeth the blood upon the lintel and on the 2 side posts, Yahweh will pass over the door and will not suffer the destroyer to come in unto your houses to smite you. Ye shall observe this thing for an ordinance to thee and to thy sons forever. And it shall come to pass, when ye come to the land which Yahweh will give you, according as he have promised, that ye shall keep his service. And it shall come to pass, when your children shall say unto you, what mean ye by this service? That ye shall say, it is the sacrifice of Yahweh's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses. And the people bowed the head in worship. And the children of Israel went away and did as Yahweh had commanded Moses and Aaron. So did they. Right? And this right here is this right here is the first major thing that followed throughout the Israelites' history, is what the Lord did for them in Egypt. Now we're about to head to a time of, famine, food, pestilence, the MOTB, Jacob trouble, something you have never seen. These are accounts that you want to hold your mind to, right? If the Lord did that for them, how much more what he's going to do for us on this side, and really those that are of the elect, right? Those that show an action of their faith. This is Exodus, the 14th chapter, in verse 13. It says, and Moses said unto the people, fear ye not, stand still and see the salvation of Yahweh, which he will show to you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever. Yahweh shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. And Yahweh said unto Moses, wherefore criest thou unto me? Speak unto the children of Israel that they go forward. But lift thou up thy rod and stretch out thy hand over the sea and divide it. And the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. And the Lord was making Moses a god to the Egyptians and making Aaron a prophet. So how much more, especially in this time, what Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is going to do for us, right? Really dealing with the elect men, right? The Lord is about to do some miraculous things that none of us have never seen, right? What's the measure of your faith, right? What is the measure of your faith, right? I believe the Lord is about to do tremendous things, especially through the men of the Lord. Brothers' imagination, right? When they dreaming, when they wake up, when they speak about the dream they had. You got to have faith and believe the things that we are able to see in the scriptures. The Lord is going to do miraculous things for us on this side. And Lord willing, we are of that number. Lord willing. Drop it down to verse 21 and read in verse 21 and 22. It says, and Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and Yahweh caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon the dry ground, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left, right? And it's always good to go into these accounts again, because we're all the way in 2025, AD, right? This time been past us, right? And you got Jake that's in the world that might not even believe in the Lord unless he do a sign or a miracle. I started off with Romans, the 10th chapter, 16 and 17. 17, the point that, we grow in faith by the word. And for you that come in this thing, you got to believe that the Lord did this through Moses. The Lord did this through Yahushua. The Lord did that through Elijah. The Lord did that through that raven to feed Elijah with food. The Lord did that and grab Habakkuk, right, to take him to Daniel to feed Daniel while he was in the lion's den in Babylon. Right? The things that we see, that we hear or know of on the left-hand side, right? All that is orchestrated from the angels on the left-hand side. Then you got to think about the things that the Lord have done on the right-hand side. Believe, right? Let's go back to Hebrews 11th chapter, which is the main chapter, the chapter, Hebrews 11th chapter It goes into faith, the whole chapter. So this is Hebrews, the 11th chapter, in verse 31. It says, by faith the harlot Rahab perished not with them that believe not, when she had received the spies with peace. Now, a sidebar for those that could be listening to this video, that doesn't mean that she's an Israelite, right? Because the Lord was making his name known and his power known in Egypt. And what happened, that went throughout those known lands. The Lord name, or the things that he have done, became famous. All nations were speaking about it. Let's go to the book of Joshua, the 2nd chapter. This is Joshua chapter 2 in verse 9 to 11. It says, and she, do I want to go up so that we can, do I want to go up, Salaki? I want to see, make sure. I mean, you can start at verse 1, you know, if you want to read for more context. But we're going to start at verse 9. It says, and she said unto them, I know that Yahweh have given you the land, and that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants, because she was an Amorite, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. For we have heard how Yahweh dried up the water of the Red Sea for you, and when ye came out of Egypt, and what ye did unto the 2 kings of the Amorites that were on the other side of Jordan, Cheyenne and Og, whom ye utterly destroyed. And as soon as we had heard these things, our hearts did melt, neither did there remain any more courage in any man, because of you. For Yahweh, your power, he is power in heaven above and in earth beneath. Right? And what did if the Lord was for the other nations, they most likely will follow. But we're a stubborn generation. Jake, man, being in this flesh, especially in this time, Jake really don't know. All these distractions, the Lord has talked about less, but you know, Yahweh Shema Shai set it up because it's really for the believers. And then even looking at when we always say precept upon precept, that's only for those that are actually going to have a delight, right? Those that are actually going to investigate, seek, right? Put the pieces and the puzzles together, because it's not just plain right in sight. The Lord decoded a lot of these scriptures because it's gonna really give you the understanding of the doctrine of the Lord. Back then, especially in the time of Yahushua, they were always speaking of the law, Psalms, and the prophets. Even the Pharisees, even if they was teaching wrong, didn't have no faith or belief in Yahushua, because they fully didn't understand the scriptures, just like Jake now. But we're in a way worse state, because the whole nation, right? The whole nation did not have this wisdom, knowledge, understanding for 350 plus years. You know, the Lord is doing something great, because now he's truly building up the elect. And the elect is going to be built by faith. You got to have faith to believe that this law was given to us by Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. You have to believe that the word is Yahushai. He is the word of the Heavenly Father. You have to believe. Faith is the key. Right? Drop it down to 15. It says, then she let them down by a cord through the window, for her house was upon the town wall, and she dwelt upon the wall. Now, you know, of course, if those that haven't read the story, and even those that did, right? Just because she did that, the Lord spared her. She didn't get destroyed. That don't mean she gets salvation. She believed that our power, Yahweh, is the power in heaven and in earth. Let's read that verse again, man. Joshua 2:11, it says, as soon as we had heard these things, our hearts did melt, neither did there remain any more courage in any man because of you. For Yahweh, your power, she said your power, she didn't say our power, she said your power. He is power in heaven above and in earth beneath. So the same when Jake say now, us men that's of his faith, he's the power, he's the God of Israel. Even the other nations were saying that. Now Arab is an example, right? Ruth is an example, staying around Naomi. But I got to get this classic in the book of Judith, just because of that. Just to prove the fact nations knew about the Israelites' power, right? You could read from 17. This is Judith, the 5th chapter. Read from 17 all the way down. But just for time's sake, this is Judith, the 5th chapter, verse 20. It says, now, therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people and a sin against their power, let us consider that this shall be their ruin. And let us go up, and we shall overcome them. So they know if we sin, right, it's going to be our ruin. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them and their power before them, and we become a reproach before all the world, right? Syrians, Babylonians, the Persian Medes. Soon as Jake started coming and rising back to the Lord, look what happened to Haman, right? Mordecai just showed the example of standing bold and being unmovable for the Lord, and let alone what Ruth did. And then she brought it to the king, her husband. And guess what? Haman died by the same device he had for Mordecai and the Jews, right? Verse 22, it says, when Akur had finished these sayings, all the people standing round about the tent murmured, and the chief men of Holofernes and all that dwelt by the seaside in Moab spake that he should kill him. For say they, we will not be afraid of the face of the children of Israel, for lo, it is a people that have no strength nor power for a strong battle. Now therefore, Lord Holofernes, Salaki, we will go up, and they shall be a prey to be devoured of all thy army. Right? They knew, since if the Lord is not with them, they're weak. They're weak. They can't win a battle. And this, Apostle Todd, like, I agree, because I'm able to analyze and see it too. None of us, even if it's 1,000 of us, 100,000, we can't beat Esau in no type of shape, form. And even if you think you can, and you like, oh man, we took over this city, they can just bring bombers, man. Nukes, planes flying right over your head and drop 5-10 nukes on that one city, and it's gone, man. Gotta have faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Right? Let's go to Hebrews 11 and 30. This is Hebrews 11 and 30. It says, by faith the walls of Jericho fell down after they were compassed about 7 days, right? And this is a beautiful classic story, which actually really happened. Salaki family, I gotta get it. Joshua chapter 6, verse 1 to 5. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of Yahweh, and Yahweh delivered them into the hand. Oh, Salaki, I got a little excited. This is that's the book of Judges. This is Joshua chapter 6, verse 1. Now Jericho was straitly shut up because of the children of Israel. None went out, none came in. And Yahweh said unto Joshua, see, I have given unto thy hand Jericho, and the king thereof, and the mighty men of valor. And ye shall compass the city, all ye men of war, and go round about the city once. Thus shalt thou do 6 days. And 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of ram's horns. In the 7th day ye shall compass the city 7 times, and the priest shall blow with trumpets. And it shall come to pass that when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, and when they hear the sound of the trumpet, all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat, and the people shall ascend up, every man straight before him. Now, this is the count before it even happens, just like what the men of the Lord is doing today, right? We're here to tell you what's going to happen in the future before it happens. That's what it means to prophesy, right? To foretell, predict the future. And we have the blueprint in the scriptures, but it's all by the Ruach HaKodesh, because the spirit of Yahushua is prophecy. And if we're able to come with sound doctrine and it's lining up, the spirit of the Lord is allowing us to give out this information so that you can be ready for what's to come. Drop it down to verse 20. This is Joshua 6:20. It says, so the people shouted when the priest blew with the trumpets. And it came to pass when the people heard the sound of the trumpet, and the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they took the city. And they utterly destroyed all that was in the city, both man and woman, young and old, and ox and sheep and ass, with the edge of the sword. Oh man, the Lord, he allowed, man, guess what? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai set this up so that his children of the Lord can take the land, man. He not wrong for that. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai was setting us up to take that land so it could be ours. This is a great story. Let alone we had to hear this before it happened. Them doing is following, actually obeying the Lord, following his commands. But again, if Abraham left his homeland, which we did a live on this whole thing, if Abraham left his homeland, right, Genesis 12th chapter verse 1 and 4, right, left his homeland and never seen the land that the Lord promised him, he had to have faith to go and do these things. Let alone he was showing that he wanted to obey Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And that's what we must do. Obey Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. We should come in this thing with faith, right? Unfavoring faith. Let's go back to the book of Hebrews. This is Hebrews 11, verse 32 to 34. And what shall I more say, for the time would fail me to tell of Gideon and Barak and of Samson and of Jephthah, of David also and Samuel, and of the prophets, who through faith subdued kingdoms, wrote righteousness, obtained promises, stopped the mouths of lions, quenched the violence of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, out of weakness there made strong, wax valiant in fight, turned to flight the armies of the aliens, right? The aliens is speaking about foreigners, right? So let's actually dive into it. Let's go to the book of Judges, the 4th chapter. First dealing with Barak. This is Judges chapter 4 in verse 6 to 9. It says, and she sent and called Barak, the son of Abinoam, out of Kadesh Naphtali, and said unto him, have not Yahweh, power of Israel, commanded, saying, go and draw toward Mount Tabor, and take with thee 10,000 men of the children of Naphtali and the children of Zebulun, and I will draw unto thee to the rivers of Kishon, Sisera, the captain of Jabin's army with his chariots and his multitude, and I will deliver him into thy hand. And Barak said unto her, If thou wilt go with me, then I will go. But if thou wilt not go with me, then I will not go. And she said, I will surely go with thee, notwithstanding the journey that thou takest shall not be for thy honor. For Yahweh shall sell Sisera into the hand of a woman. And Deborah arose and went with Barak to Kadesh. Right? Let's get another one. Let's get Judges, the 6th chapter. Because they was about to go to war. And when it finished, it was definitely titled that a woman won that battle. Right? So now we at Judges, the 6th chapter, in verse 11. We're going to read verse 11 to 16. It says, And there came an angel of Yahweh and sat under an oak, which was in Ophrah, and pertained unto Joash the Abiezrite, and his son Gideon threshed wheat by the winepress to hide it from the Midianites. And the angel of Yahweh appeared unto him and said unto him, Yahweh is with thee, thou mighty man of valor. And Gideon said unto him, O my Lord, if Yahweh be with us, why then is all this befallen us? And where be all his miracles, which our fathers told us of, saying, Did not Yahweh bring us up from Egypt? But now Yahweh hath forsaken us, and delivered us into the hands of the Midianites. And Yahweh looked upon him and said, Go in this thy might, and thou shalt save Israel from the hand of the Midianites. Have not I sent thee? And he said unto him, O my Lord, wherewith shall I save Israel? Behold, my family is poor in Manasseh, and I am the least in my father's house. And Yahweh said unto him, Surely I will be with thee. Thou shalt smite the Midianites as one man. Right? And that's another thing, man. He said, I'm going to be with you. For the elect, those that's trying, for those that believe, know that the Lord is with you. You know that the Lord is with you. Believe he's with you. It's just saying, when you pray, don't pray in doubt. When we're walking in this thing, don't doubt. Don't be afraid. Actually, just because I said that, let's get a precept real quick. 2nd Esdras. The 16th chapter, going straight to the point, verse 75. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for the Most High is your guide. Right? Don't doubt, man. Don't doubt. Right? And other precepts, again, for time's sake, you can go to Judges, the 15th chapter, verse 14 to 15. You can go to Judges, the 11th chapter, verse 29 to 33. And you can go to 1 Samuel, chapter 17, verse 45 to 47. Now, all of these examples in the book of Judges, Gideon, Barak, Samson, Jephthah, David, Samuel, and the prophets, right, acted courageously in battles and trials, trusting in Yahweh's deliverance. How much more in this time, how much more are we going to trust in Yahweh by sending his son Yahweh Shai to deliver us, to bring us, that deliverance, from our enemies, those that have ruined us. Gotta have faith. Right? Because I do got another one, but I don't, for time's sake, because it might be too long. When you read about Elijah in First Kings, that 17th chapter, verse 1 to 16, in First Kings, the 18th chapter, verse 21 to 39, Elijah trusted Yahweh during drought, right? And challenged the prophets of Baal, right? Let me see if I can actually get one point. Because Samson definitely was getting in there. I ain't going to hold you. Let me see if I can give you guys one good point. You know what? We'll deal with this one. Maybe you can read about when he challenged the prophets of Baal. But I'm going to read this one. This is 1 Kings, the 17th chapter, and verse 1. Elijah the Tishbite, who was of the inhabitants of Gilead, said unto Ahab, As Yahweh power of Israel liveth, before whom I stand, there shall not be dew nor rain these years. But according to my word, and the word of Yahweh came unto him, saying, Get thee hence, and turn thee eastward, and hide thyself by the brooks of Cherith, that is before Jordan. And it shall be that thou shalt drink of the brook, and I have commanded the ravens to feed thee there. So he went and did according to the word of Yahweh, for he went and dwelt by the brook of Cherith, that is before Jordan. And the ravens brought him bread. The ravens brought him bread and flesh in the morning, and bread and flesh in the evening. And he drank of the brook. And it came to pass after a while that the brook dried up, because there had been no rain in the land. Right? The Lord had a raven come and feed him. Ravens is smart. His other animals are smart, but the Lord chose this raven, man. One time I had a dream where, Jacob's trouble, and me and my family, like multiple family, even, other men and women that's of his faith, traveling and depending on the Lord. And the Lord was allowing us to come past shelter, but even some of the animals was protecting us, making sure we had food, right? Bears giving us bringing honey. Certain wolves, certain animals was pointing us in the direction where food was at, and this was all in a dream. Now I truly believe, Yahweh Shema Shai can do these things. Again, this is just another great account, right? Verse 8, it says, And the word of Yahweh came unto him, saying, Arise, get thee to Zarephath, which belongeth to Zidon, and dwell there. Behold, I have commanded a widow woman there to sustain thee. So he arose and went to Zephathah. And when he came to the gate of the city, behold, the widow woman was there gathering of sticks. And he called to her and said, Fetch me, I pray thee, a little water in a vessel, that I may drink. And as she was going to fetch it, he called her and said, Bring me, I pray thee, a morsel of bread in thy hand. And she said, As Yahweh thy power liveth, I have not a cake, but an handful of meal in a barrel, and a little oil in a cruse. And behold, I am gathering 2 sticks, that I may go in and dress it for me and my son, that we may eat it and die. And Elijah said unto her, Fear not, go and do as thou hast said, but make me thereof a little cake first, and bring it unto me, and after make for thee and for thy son. For thus saith Yahweh power of Israel, a barrel of meal shall not waste, neither shall the cruse of oil fail, until the day that Yahweh sendeth rain upon the earth. And she went and did according to the saying of Elijah, and she and he and her house did eat many days, and the barrel of meal wasted not, neither did the cruse of oil fail, according to the word of Yahweh, which he spake by Elijah. Right? Right? Elijah trusted in Yahweh during drought. Right? And Elijah was speaking, Yahweh was speaking through Elijah. Hebrews 1. This is Hebrews chapter 1, verse 1. The Most High, who at sundry times in diverse manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets. Right? Nah. Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Hey, wait, hold on. We can get a better one. What is it? Sirach 2 and 10. This is Sirach, Ecclesiasticus chapter 2. In verse 10, it says, look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or when did he ever despise that called upon him? Right? Who did the Lord ever forsaken that called upon him, man? Let's go to the book of Daniel. Daniel chapter 6. In verse 10. Man, this might be a lot. I'll read a few and then I'll drop down. This is when Daniel continues to worship, right? Because the king had made a decree on worship, right? But here we go. This is Daniel 6 and 10. It says, now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber towards Jerusalem, he knelt upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his power. And as he did aforetime, then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his power. Then they came near and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Hast thou not signed a decree that every man that shall ask a petition of any god or man within 30 days, save of thee, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, the thing is true according to the law of the Medes and the Persians, which altereth not. Right? So they caught Daniel doing this. Daniel, he praying to the power. Forget that, I'm praying to the power. So they went to go tell the king. So let's just drop down to verse 16. It says, then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of lions. Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, thy power whom thou servest continually, he will deliver thee. Right? We just gonna leave it right there. So he put him in the lion's den, and the king said, thy power whom thou servest continually, he will deliver thee. Now drop it down to verse 21. It says, then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. Wait, hold on, let me see. Now I'm gonna start at 19. It says, then the king arose very early in the morning and went in haste unto the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spake and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living power, is thy power, whom thou servest continually, able to deliver thee from the lions? Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. My power have sent his angel and have shut the lions' mouths, that they have not hurt me, for as much as before him innocence was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt. Then was the king exceedingly glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his power. And the king commanded, and they brought those men which had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of lions, them, their children, and their wives. And the lions had the mastery of them, and break all their bones in pieces, for or ever they came into the to the bottom of the den. Come on, man. And that's a beautiful example. Those that were plotting against Daniel, guess what? They got fucked up, man. They went night-night. So how much more Esau? How much more all these other nations? Especially, I mean, you higher ups, you got something special when this fall. But just imagine what the Lord is going to do on this side for his elect's sake. Sirach 4:28, right? Strive for the truth until death, and the Lord shall fight for you. Right? Let's get Hebrews 11:33. This is Hebrews 11, verse 33. It says, who through faith subdued kingdoms, wrought righteousness, obtained promises, stopped the mouths of lions. Who? Right? I'll even read 34, because we're about to get into that. It says, quench the voice of fire, escape the edge of the sword, out of weakness they're made strong, wax valiant in fight, turn to flight the army of aliens. Right? That's talking about foreigners, man. Right? But the Lord quenched the violence of fire. Who is that going into? Right? Let's go to Daniel, the 3rd chapter. Now, just for time's sake, if anybody, you can go read the 3 holy children. Read the whole chapter. I think by the time you get down, I forgot what number, maybe 40 or something, maybe 60 something. Azariah, he really start praying hard. Right? Let me just hurry up and just see. It's actually 68 verses, so I believe if you start at 28, they really get it in with that prayer, man. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. So this is Daniel, the 3rd chapter. I'm gonna start at 15, read that point, and then we're going to drop down. This is Daniel chapter 3 and verse 15. I'll start at 14. It says, Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not ye serve my powers, my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Now if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dual chamber, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made. Well, but if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is that power that shall deliver you out of my hands? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our power whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace. He will deliver us out of thy hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy power, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Right? The next verse, Nebuchadnezzar, he was full of fury. Man, look, our Lord gonna save us, but if he don't, we still ain't gonna bow down. That's straight spiritual confidence right there. Right? I'm gonna drop down And I'm going to read, should I start at 26? I'm going to start at verse 24. It says, Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake, and said unto his counselors, Did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, True, O king. And he answered and said, Lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the 4th is like the Son of Man. I mean, the Son of God. Yahweh Shai came through in the spirit, man. I mean, you OT onlys, man, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai did it. And we all the way in this time, the Lord left these things for our learning to encourage us, to boost up our faith. Right? Verse 26, it says, Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace, and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, ye servants of the Most High Power, come forth, come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire. And the princes, governors, and captains, and the king's counselor, being gathered together, saw these men, upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was an hair of their head singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, Blessed be the power of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who have sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him, and have changed the king's word and yielded their bodies, that they might not serve nor worship any power except their own power. Right? This is what we really need to be putting work in. Serving our true power. Being willing to lay ourselves down. Being willing to say, look, if the Lord don't deliver me at the time when you doing what you're doing, we still ain't going to do it. Because when you read the 3 holy children, Ezra said, we deserve it, man, because of our sins and the things that we have done. The Lord have given us to these lawless and wicked rulers. But it's up to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. This is a learned example for us. Right? Verse 29, it says, Therefore I make a decree that every people, nation, language, which speak anything amiss against the power of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other power that can deliver after this sort. Come on, man. Right? When you do things that's pleasing unto Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, he'll make your enemies be at peace with you. Nebuchadnezzar was stuck like, yo, just reading these scriptures, right? I don't remember this. I don't know if I was there. I don't know. Look, I'm only able to get this understanding by the teachers, then read it myself and be like, man, this really happened, man. It really happened. I believe the Lord is going to do it. He's going to outdo himself. For the things he did in the past, he's going to outdo himself. 350 years, no truth. We come back in this thing, we ain't never seen none of those type of miracles. But when you start reading, you be like, man, you're already seeing the miracle. Brothers teaching now. The 12 tribes is in the land of Babylon the Great right now, the southern and northern kingdom. Right? You got the left side where we bumping heads with each other, doing all wickedness in this world. Then you got the right hand side where we actually coming together trying to teach this word in the name of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Right? So again, the 3 holy children, they refused to bow down to the image. And they were trusting Yahweh to deliver, they were willing to accept their death. Just like, Sirach 4:28, strive for the truth until death. Even when you go into the apostles, right? Paul was getting stoned, then he got beheaded. Stephen, same thing, got stoned and was willing to get persecuted for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. What distance is we trying to go, right? Let's get these other few examples. Let's deal with the apostles, the early disciples. This is Acts, the 4th chapter, in verse 18 to 20. It says, and they called them and commanded them not to speak at all nor teach in the name of Yahushai. Right? They was teaching in the name Yahushai. No other name, no name that we got now. Even though you had Hebrew, Greek, and Latin, they were still calling Yahushai by the name the angel gave him, Yahushai. Right? Because Jake was still speaking Hebrew. Yahushai was still speaking that ancient tongue. So if people wanted to know his name, Yahushai of Lazarus. Right? Verse 19, but Peter and John answered and said unto them, whether it be right in the sight of the Most High to hearken unto you more than unto the Most High, judge ye. For we cannot but speak the things which we have seen and heard. So when they had further threatened them, they let them go, finding nothing how they might punish them because of the people. For all men glorify the Most High for that which was done. For the man was above 40 years old, on whom this miracle of healing was showed. And they was doing miracles in the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Right? Let's go to Acts, the 5th chapter. And let's read verse 40 to 42. It says, I'll start at verse 39. It says, but if it be of the Most High, ye cannot overthrow it, lest happily ye be found even to fight against the Most High. To him they agreed, and when they had called the apostles and beaten them, they commanded that they should not speak in the name Yahushai, and let them go. And they departed from the presence of the council, rejoicing that they were counted worthy to suffer shame for his name. And daily in the temple and in every house they ceased not to teach and preach Yahushua Mashiach. That's faith. They didn't stop teaching just because they knew they was going to get persecuted, just because it was going to be a bumpy road. This is what we signed up. The Lord already said that they was going to get, hold on. Let's just get the precept for it. Matthew, the 5th chapter. Matthew chapter 5, verse 11. Verse 10. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. This is the lot we in, man. Doing the same, we in the same shoes as the men before us, paving the way. Look, if they can do it, we can do it. Stay strong. It's already right in front of you. All you got to do is build up your faith. When that time comes, and if you really are that faith, you're naturally going to do it, man. This is 2 Corinthians, the 4th chapter, in verse 8. It says, we are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Cast down, but not destroyed. Always bearing about in the body the dying of the Lord Yahushai, that the life also of Yahushai might be made manifest in our body. For we which live are always delivered unto death for Yahushai's sake, that the life also of Yahushai might be made manifest in our mortal flesh, right? Because they were in constant danger, because they were set up to teach this word. It says, so then death worketh in us, but life in you, right? So they lived in the face of death, right? Not just for just something that's not some little. No, they were in the face of death because they were standing bold in the name and the teaching of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. We having the same spirit of faith according as it is written, I believed, and therefore have I spoken. We also believe, therefore speak. Right? And they preached the gospel despite of threats, imprisonment, and death. Still was teaching. And all these trials was right in front of them. Right? All these trials was right in front. Man, we supposed to endure. Salaki. We supposed to endure the trials of temptation. It's very tempting when somebody tell you, don't teach in his name. Don't teach in his name because of this. You know, look at Judas. He got bribed with money. He got tempted and he fell majorly. Which this was all stemmed from the TV show, The Chosen, that I watch. Right? We got to know what we actually signed up for. We signed up to serve Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Right? Let's even get one for Yahushai. This is Hebrews, the 12th chapter, in verse 2. It says, looking unto Yahushai, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of the Father. Everything Yahushai did was pure faith in the Father. He obeyed the Lord's command, right? He did it because it was the Father's will, not his will. And a lot of people make faith something small. Faith is going to draw you to make action. Faith is going to cause you to endure, right? Which is an action. He endured the cross, fully trusting in Yahweh's plans, right? He even prayed and said, man, Lord, let this cup pass over me, but let it be thy will, not my will. Let's get this real quick. This is Luke 22, verse 39 to 44. It says, and he came to pass. No, it's Salaki, y'all. And he came out and went as he was walked to the Mount of Olives, and his disciples also follow him. And when he was at the place, he said unto them, pray that ye enter not into temptation. And he was withdrawn from them about a stone's cast, and knelt down and prayed, saying, Father, if thou be willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thy will be done. Right? But thine be done. Right? He said, man, let your will be done. And there appeared an angel unto him from heaven, strengthening him. And being in an agony, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was as it were great drops of blood falling down to the ground. Man, faith. He knew what he had to endure, but for him to go through with it, it was faith, pure faith. Salaki for my mishaps, my words. Man, just got over work. I'm tired. But hey, all praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem HaKadosh, the water Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Lord willing, we can continue to edify the sheep through his will. That we're honest to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who rule well and teach well through the Spirit. A mighty shalom to the hopeful elect in the same Spirit, teaching His word and believing His word, Lord willing, that they all, as a whole, can continue in sound doctrine and in the same Spirit. Shalom to the Akwat Young, believers in His faith and His truth. Lord willing, the Most have mercy on our other brothers and sisters that's not in the faith. With that, shalom, shalom. Ba ba ba.